The lecture hall smelled like burnt metal and anxiety. Typical Tuesday at Galactic University, if you asked me. I'm Vorthan, a Cleavery systems analyst, and I'd seen enough weird stuff in my 3 cycles here to fill a datapad. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what walked through that door. Professor Hallex was mid-sentence about quantum substrate theory when the emergency lockdown alarms started screaming. Red lights bathed everything in a lovely shade of impending doom. The doors sealed with a hiss that made my sensory stalks curl. "Remain calm," Hallex announced, which is exactly what you say when everyone should absolutely panic. "This is a standard security protocol." Standard? Right. Because the 40-centimeter thick blast doors definitely closed for standard reasons. Then we heard it. Footsteps. Heavy ones. Getting closer. My classmate Prin, a Salvaxian with enough eyes to see tomorrow, went pale. All 7 of her visual organs fixed on the entrance. "That's a Korthax soldier," she whispered. "I can smell the blood from here." Great. Just great. A Korthax. For those keeping score at home, that's a 3-meter-tall killing machine with armor plating that laughs at plasma fire and a disposition that makes black holes seem welcoming. They were supposed to be extinct after the Purge Wars. Apparently, someone forgot to tell this one. The blast doors groaned. Actual groaning. Metal protesting against something that really wanted inside. Hallex activated the emergency barricade, which was basically admitting we were all about to become statistics. "Everyone to the back," he shouted. We scrambled. Well, most of us did. The human, an exchange student named Marcus, just sat there, completely still, watching the door like it was showing his favorite broadcast. "Human," I hissed, yanking on his arm. It was like pulling on a support beam. "Move." He glanced at me, and I swear there was something in his eyes that made my survival instincts scream louder than the alarms. Not fear. Definitely not fear. "You might want to step back, Vorthan," he said, voice calm as morning mist. The doors exploded inward. Actual chunks of reinforced titanium alloy became projectiles. One piece embedded itself in the wall centimeters from Prin's main head. She made a sound that I'll probably hear in my nightmares for cycles. The Korthax ducked through the ruined entrance. Blood dripped from its claws. Not its blood. The security team's blood. It surveyed the room with those dead black eyes, cataloging targets, calculating kill order. Then it saw Marcus. And Marcus smiled. Not a friendly smile. Not even close. This was the smile of someone who just found out their boring day was about to get interesting. He stood up, slow and deliberate, and rolled his shoulders like he was working out a kink from sitting too long. "Oh, you have got to be kidding me," he said, and he was laughing. Actually laughing. "A Korthax? Here? On a Tuesday?" The killing machine tilted its head. "Confused. Join the club, buddy." We were all confused. "See, this is why I transferred off Earth," Marcus continued, walking forward. Walking toward the thing that had just murdered trained soldiers. I thought, hey, maybe alien universities would be safer. Less random violence. More intellectual discourse. But no. Apparently the universe just loves throwing this stuff at me. The Korthax roared. The sound rattled my bones and made my inner organs try to swap places. It was a sound designed by evolution to trigger every prey instinct in the known galaxy. Marcus stopped laughing. "Okay," he said quietly. Too quietly. That was rude. What happened next will probably be classified by 6 different security agencies. The human moved. Not human speed moved. He moved like physics was a polite suggestion he decided to ignore. The Korthax swung first. A blow that should have turned Marcus into a red mist decorating the walls. Marcus wasn't there. He was under the swing, inside the Korthax's guard, and his fist connected with the creature's armored torso. The sound was thunder in an enclosed space. The Korthax flew backward. Actually flew. It crashed through 3 rows of desks and into the far wall, leaving a depression in the reinforced concrete. Dead silence. Even the alarm seemed shocked into shutting up. Marcus shook out his hand. "Ow. Okay. Should have stretched first. Been skipping gym for exams. Stupid. That's just stupid, Marcus." He was talking to himself, casually discussing his workout routine while a Korthax warrior groaned in a wall crater. I checked my translator 3 times. Surely it was malfunctioning. The Korthax pulled itself free. Angrier now. Its armor plates extended, combat mode fully activated. It had stopped treating this like hunting scared prey. Now it recognized a threat. Marcus cracked his neck. Round 2 then? Cool. Cool. Been a while since I had a good workout. Professor Hallex made a sound like someone had disconnected his speech processor. I didn't blame him. Every text, every briefing about human exchange students had mentioned they were fragile, delicate, required special safety protocols because their homeworld was only Category 7 dangerous. Category 7. I watched Marcus dodge another strike that would have bisected a transport shuttle. Category 7. That classification was either a typo or the biggest understatement since someone called a supernova mildly warm. The Korthax adapted. That was the terrifying thing about them. Battle computers in their neural cores, learning algorithms that processed combat data faster than most species could blink. It altered its attack pattern, feinted left, struck right, followed with a tail sweep that had ended entire platoons. Marcus caught the tail. Caught it. With his bare hands. The appendage that could punch through tank armor. He caught it like someone grabbing a misbehaving pet. Nope, he said, and yanked. The Korthax went airborne again. This time, Marcus used it like a particularly ugly club, slamming it into the floor, then the ceiling, then the floor again. The structural integrity sensors started wailing. The entire building was protesting this violation of reasonable force limits. Prin grabbed my arm. All 7 eyes were wider than I thought physically possible. What is he? She whispered. I had no answer. None of us did. We were watching every assumption about humans get body slammed into rubble right alongside the Korthax. Marcus finally released the tail. The warrior crashed down, armor cracked in a dozen places, breathing hard. It tried to rise. Failed. Tried again. Marcus walked over, casual as someone approaching a vending machine, and kicked it. Not hard. Just enough. The Korthax stayed down. Anyone else? Marcus called out, scanning the room. Any other surprise murder machines want to crash my lecture? No? Good. Because I have an exam next period, and I really need these notes. He walked back to his desk, sat down, pulled out his datapad like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't just single-handedly neutralized a threat that required orbital bombardment protocols to handle. The security team finally arrived. 12 officers in full combat gear, plasma rifles charged, looking ready for war. They saw the Korthax, saw the destroyed lecture hall, saw Marcus taking notes. The team leader, a grizzled Tarnaxian with more scars than sense, approached slowly. The threat has been neutralized. Marcus didn't look up. Yeah, he's taking a nap. Might want to get some heavy restraints. And maybe a medical team. I think I cracked a few of his ribs. Or all of them. Anatomy isn't my major. The team leader stared. His mandibles worked silently for a solid 10 seconds. You, a student, defeated a Korthax warrior. In hand-to-hand combat. Technically hand-to-tail combat. Marcus corrected. Different skill set. Also, can we get maintenance in here? The ventilation is shot, and it smells like burned circuits. Professor Hallex found his voice. Barely. Mr. Thompson, perhaps you could explain. How? How? Marcus finally looked up. He seemed genuinely confused by the question. Explain what? The guy attacked. I defended. Pretty straightforward self-defense scenario. They covered this in orientation, right? Active threat protocols. Active threat protocols, Hallex repeated slowly. Involve hiding and waiting for security. Not whatever that was. Oh, Marcus blinked. Really? That seems inefficient. What if security is delayed? What if there are casualties while waiting? That's just poor risk management. I found myself speaking before my brain caught up. You said Category 7. Earth is classified Category 7 dangerous. That's low. That's barely above Garden Worlds. Something flickered across Marcus's face. Not quite amusement. Not quite pity. Something in between that made my sensory stalks want to retract permanently. Yeah, he said softly. About that. You might want to check who wrote those initial classification reports. And whether they ever actually visited Earth. Or just sent probes. Really distant probes. From really far away. The Korthax groaned. Medical teams were hovering around it now, scanning, looking concerned. One of them approached the security leader and whispered something. The leader's expression went from shocked to horrified. Spinal compression fractures, he announced. Severe internal damage. Multiple armor plate failures. This warrior has been in service for 20 cycles. Survived 16 major engagements. Never been injured this severely. He turned to Marcus. What are you? Marcus smiled. That same smile from earlier. Just a guy trying to get his degree in comparative literature. Though after today, I'm thinking maybe transfer to xenobiology. Seems like there's a lot of misconceptions about Earth species that need correcting. Professor Hallex collapsed into his chair. Class dismissed. Forever. I'm retiring. Effective immediately. But the exam, someone protested weakly. There is no exam. Hallex shrieked. There is no class. There is only the realization that we've been teaching a predator species advanced technology and assuming they were harmless because they smiled nicely and said please. Marcus raised his hand. To be fair, we are harmless. Mostly. As long as nobody tries to murder us during quantum theory lectures. That's just basic boundaries. The cleanup crews arrived. They brought industrial equipment, the kind used for disaster sites and collapsed structures. They took one look at the lecture hall and immediately called for backup. I gathered my things on autopilot. My hands were shaking. Not from fear anymore. From the recalculation of everything I thought I knew. Every interaction with Marcus over the past months suddenly took on new context. The time he'd helped move furniture and lifted pieces that should have required anti-grav units. The casual way he'd mentioned his homeworld's weather as if Category 5 hurricanes were background noise. The stories about wildlife that I'd assumed were exaggerated. Nothing was exaggerated. If anything, he'd been understating things. Marcus caught my eye as I left. Hey, Vorthen. Still on for study group Thursday? We're covering interstellar treaty law, and I cannot figure out the Korthax Accords. I stared at him. At the human who'd just treated a Korthax warrior like a training dummy, who was now worried about treaty law homework. Yeah, I heard myself say. Thursday. Sure. Because apparently, that was my life now. Study groups with a species that could probably conquer the galaxy, but chose to attend university instead. As I walked through the ruined doorway, past the unconscious killing machine and the traumatized security team, one thought kept echoing through my mind. Category 7. Someone needed to update those files. Urgently. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.